So welcome everybody. We all know each other by now. But yes, we're going to start with a standing meditation today because we're looking at the theme of grounding this morning in our sunrise flow. So to do this, let's take the feet to a nice hip distance apart. I think somebody's just joined us, so I'll just go say hello. Good everyone. B, hi, hello. I'm just going to pop you on mute. You don't have any injuries or anything, do you, B, that I should know about? No, nothing's changed. Okay, great. Lovely. So I was just saying, if you want to put anything on, like a jump or anything, we're starting with a standing meditation, so just in case you feel like you're going to get a bit cold. So let's take the feet hip distance apart, and we're just going to come to stillness on the mat. We can begin to close the eyes here. And as we're here, we're going to take our toes off the ground and begin to spread the toes out, and then put them down as individually as you can, spreading the toes onto the ground beneath you. So we're really starting to get that surface area with the feet. And in here, we're going to bend through the knees slightly. So you can either take a micro bend or a little more of a bend if that feels good this morning. But just not locking the knees out. I want some softness going on in the body. And let's think about rooting down through the feet here. As we root down, we're talking about grounding today. So we want to really start to feel that connection with the mat. Obviously, that connection is always there. We're always touching the mat in some way with parts of our body. But today, we want to tap into that connection. Really begin to feel the ground, feel the floor beneath the feet. So start to feel that underneath all four corners of the feet, the outer edges, the inner, beneath the toes. And then allowing that weight to drop through the ankles and through the calves, the knees, thighs, the hips, allowing the whole lower body to become really soft towards the ground here. And as we move up into the belly, we're going to draw that slightly upwards. So just think about lifting slightly through the belly towards the ceiling. And then through the ribs as well. See if you can lift that to a millimeter closer to the ceiling. Through the neck and the crown of the head. From the belly upwards, we have this lightness, this lift. Coming towards the ceiling, from the hips down, grounding steadiness through the feet. Let the arms be heavy, shoulders drawing back, and the fingertips drawing down towards the floor. They don't need to be very active here, just a kind of a sense that they're being slightly pulled downwards. You need to breathe in and out through the nose. With the eyes closed, releasing any tension in the face. Maybe between the brows, around the mouth and the jaw, allowing the body to be heavy. So grounding can be in two different ways. We have our physical grounding, which is what we're doing right now, where we feel the floor beneath our feet. We also have the mental grounding, as we stay in this position. I'd like to think about three ways that mentally you ground yourself. It can be very tiny things, or it can be much bigger things. It could be something like family, friends, it can be fitness, it can be early mornings, anything at all. Three things that really ground you mentally in your life. When you have those three, just taking one, perhaps the most important one, or maybe the smallest one. Just begin to visualize that in your head. Let that completely consume your mind. It fills up with a visualization, that one thing that really grounds you. That visual. And as we move through the class today, we're going to tap back into this connection, grounding connection with the floor. And we're also going to keep that visualization as much as you can, moving through this practice. So we start to connect those two things together, our physical grounding with our mental grounding. We'll take a couple more deep breaths here, inhaling deeply into the nose. And exhaling through the nose. One more big inhale. Really feeling the belly, feeling the ribs. And a big exhale through the nose. Rise out to drop completely into your feet and begin to blink, flutter the eyes open. You can keep your jumper on for now, or you can begin to take it off if you have one on. Let's inhale and lift the hands all the way up towards the sky. Gaze towards the thumb. Exhaling, palms to the ground. So begin to link into that connection with the floor with the palms down, head releases. Inhale, halfway lift, begin to lift the hips a little higher. And exhaling, place both hands down, step back into our plank pose. From here, eyes the elbows forward. Let's rock forwards onto the toes, take the knees down, engage the core. And then nice and slowly, with control in one straight unit, we release down towards the floor. Feel that connection of the body on the floor, the toes into the floor, press down through the toes, draw these elbows together and lift the chest. Baby cobra. Exhale, taking the chest back down, tuck the toes under. Let's engage the core and press through these hands, press through the toes as we lift back to our downward facing dog. Spread through the fingertips, place some pressure down through the palms, lift the hips nice and tall and bending the knees slightly. From here, we can just walk the dog out. So taking one heel down and straightening the leg, bending the other knee, and then swapping sides. Maybe letting the chest move through with it. Really think about that grounding, maybe come back to that visualization as you're here as well. Good, lovely everybody, really nice. Big deep breaths. Hi Nicola, I didn't see that you joined. Welcome. We're doing grounding this morning, you might have noticed. Lovely everyone, keeping those hips nice and high. Really slow, coming back to that breath on your inhales and your exhales. Just a couple more deep breaths here. Keeping this walking dog going, maybe swaying the hips a little further from side to side. Really getting into the pose here. Seeing what feels good for the legs. Maybe legs feel a little tight today. Don't worry about it. It is 6:30 in the morning. And then we'll slowly come back to stillness. Bending the knees here, lifting the hips as high as you can to draw the chest through. And then from here, bend the knees even more, looking forwards, engage the core. Let's step the right foot forwards, left foot forwards. Coming back to that halfway lift. Draw the hips up towards the ceiling. And exhale, palms down, head releases. Bend the knees as much as you need. And inhale, in one, lifting all the way up to standing. Good, palms together at the top, gaze to the thumb. Breathing, lifting these fingertips up, 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 up. As we ground through the feet, pressing through the feet. And then drawing the hands down the central line of the body. Releasing the hands back to the floor. Inhale, let's lift. Fingertips drawing to the ceiling, face to thumbs. Exhale, palms to the floor. Head releases, bend the knees as much as you need, and then begin to lift the hips from there. Inhale, halfway lift onto the fingertips, draw the shoulder blades back. Exhale, palms down, step the left foot back, right foot back into our plank pose. From here, engage that core, rock forward slightly. Eyes the elbows forward, take the knees down if you need. Otherwise, you can come to full chaturanga and then releasing down nice and slowly all the way to the floor. Feel that connection of the body on the floor and press the toes down. Draw the elbows back, lift the chest. If you'd like to go into your cobra or upward facing dog, feel free. Press through the toes as you do, draw the chest through. Exhale, releasing down and back into our downward facing dog. From here again, let's walk that dog out. So as we're with our grounding today, we really want to visualize what mentally grounds us. And at the same time, we want to really feel that happening through the feet. So our grounding, usually we think about just through the feet in yoga, because they happen to be on the floor a lot of the time. But really, we want to ground through any part of our body that's on the floor today. So that would be the hands today in our downward facing dog, as well as the feet. In some ways, more so the hands in the downward facing dog. If your heels are off the floor, which they probably are for most of us, then we really want to press through these hands, through the fingertips and the palms, as we release the heels down, as we feel that grounding grow through the legs. Just taking a couple more deep breaths here, inhaling fully, and exhaling fully. One more deep breath, keeping walking the dog really slowly, inhaling, lifting the hips, and exhaling. Begin to come back to stillness here. Lift all the way up onto the toes. So the heels are really lifting up here. Press through these hands. So see if you can really ground as far as you can through these hands, pressing through the base of the index finger, base of the thumb. Lift the hips nice and tall, and with the heels really lifted, draw this chest through towards the heels. From this position, keep from the hips all the way to the hands, completely steady. Try to maintain that posture as we begin to draw the backs of the knees away and then begin to encourage the heels down. So you may find that at some point there's a point of resistance. That's fine, hold that point of resistance. And wherever you are, press through the outer edges of the feet. Lift through the hips and press through the base of the index finger. Inhaling. And exhale, lower the heels slightly more, it doesn't matter if it's a millimeter. Inhaling. And as you exhale, bend through the knees. Look between the hands and step the left foot forward, right foot forward. Halfway lift. Exhale, palms down, head releases. Lift the hips and inhale, lifting all the way up. From here, take the hands together, lift those fingertips nice and high, gaze to the thumb, and press down through the feet. So we're back to sort of our starting posture here. A lengthened version of the Vinyasa we were in. Exhale, draw the hands through the heart center, dropping the hands down towards the legs. Inhale, lift back up, gaze to thumbs, stretch through the fingertips. Exhale, palms to the floor, grounding back down once more, head release, lift the hips. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, step back with the right leg, step back with the left, taking your option for your chaturanga. Rock forwards first, wherever you go. Take the knees down, maybe eyes the elbows forward, and then engaging through the core, we drop down, maybe into halfway, and then we lift it upward facing dog, maybe all the way down into baby cobra. As we exhale, we draw back into our downward facing dog. And you can either stay in stillness here, or you can walk the dog out. So taking this time for yourself, good. Breathing in and breathing out. And again, let's clock back into that visualization of what mentally grounds you. So Nicola, I'm not sure if you were here yet for that bit, you probably were. But we're thinking about what mentally grounds us in life. So it could be fitness, it could be friends, it could be family, it could be something very small, it could be reading. Anything at all that just really cements you down into the ground. During your day, during your life, that little rock that you need to keep steady, keep calm. And hold that visualization as we physically ground down through the hands and through the feet. Beginning to come into stillness here in a downward facing dog. And again, let's lift the heels off the ground, press through the hands, draw the chest through towards the knees. And from here, with the hips feeling quite high, we're going to draw these heels back down towards the floor. Press through the outer edges of the feet. Take a big, deep inhale. And as you exhale, bend through the knees, look between the hands, and step the right foot forward, left foot forward, halfway lift. Exhale, palms to full head releases. Inhale, lift all the way to standing. Again, shoot those fingertips up nice and high. And then exhale, draw the hands down the central line. Bring the fingertips down. Good. From here, you can take your option today. So either we can take the feet together. I usually want you to do that option, but today it might be quite nice to take it a little bit apart, just so we have that kind of more stability. We're coming into our chair pose. So from here, lift the toes once more, spread the toes out, press them back down. Find that grounding in your feet. And then from here, in your chair, if your thighs are open, I want you to imagine there's a block in between them that you're squeezing against them, so that should automatically activate those thighs, moving those glutes. From here, let's drop the hips back. Gaze down, just make sure you can see your big toes and begin to lift the hands. Draw the navel in and lift the shoulders nice and high. The fingertips are going up. To do this, just with your shoulder rotation, what you can do is take the palms so they're facing backwards, and you'll see where the shoulders lead, where they move with that. And then you can take the palms together so that they're facing together. Hold here in your chair. We're going to hold for 4 more deep breaths. Inhaling. Good. And exhaling, dropping the hips. Good. Nice. Yes. Think about that block. Think about squeezing into that block. Lovely. 3 more deep breaths here. Inhale, lift the hands. And at the same time, exhale, drop the hips. Good. 2 more deep breaths here. Inhaling, ground down through the feet, lift through the hands, and exhaling. Last big breath in your chair pose, inhaling. And as you exhale, we're going to take your hands down towards the floor. Palms down, head releases, lift the hips, so straighten the legs as much as you possibly can. And then once more, inhale, halfway lift. As we exhale, place the palms down, we're going to step or jump back through our chaturanga, taking the option that feels right for you. Inhaling to baby cobra, upward facing dog. And exhaling to downward facing dog. Holding here for a moment, inhale. And exhaling. As you next inhale, let's lift the right leg nice and high. 3-leg dog. Keep the hips square to the mat. And then bending his left knee, looking between the hands. Draw the right knee in towards the chest. Hold for a second here, inhaling. And as you exhale, place this foot between the hands. Grab hold of the ankle if you need to draw it in closer. And then place this back foot to 45-degree angle. Inhaling, we're going to windmill all the way up to standing. We're coming into a warrior 2. So for our warrior 2, so we're looking through some of our warrior poses today. There's a really nice grounding way for us. So from here, we want a nice big distance between the feet. So think that they're about where the wrists are, the ankles are about where the wrists are. And then drop the hips low. Just dropping the hips low. And here we want to think about our feet. So pressing through these feet. It's quite easy almost for the right foot, but for the left foot, we want to think about pressing that back a little toe. So pressing the little toe down, pressing to the outer edge of the foot, keeping this leg really straight and strong, engaging through the leg. As we exhale, drop the hips a little more, draw this belly in and lift through the crown of the head. Gaze towards the right fingertips. Take a moment to look down, just make sure you can see that slither of the right foot, the inside of the right foot, inside the knee. And breathe. Take a few more deep breaths here. Inhaling. And exhaling. Soften through the shoulders, but strengthen through the fingertips. Inhaling. And exhaling. As we stay in our warrior 2, I want you to think about that connection between the feet and the floor right now. The floor is holding you, is grounding you, but it's supporting you as well in your pose. And then begin to visualize once more what mentally grounds you. Just a couple more deep breaths here. Inhaling. And exhaling. Last big breath. Inhale. And exhale. As we inhale, begin to straighten this front leg. So we're coming to a slightly extended triangle pose here. So for this, let's drop in on this right hip. So we allow the left hip to drop backwards. Keep both legs really straight and strong. We squeeze them together. And then as if somebody's grabbing your right hand and they're pulling you forwards, reach as far forwards as you possibly can, and then allow the hand to drop down. So that might be to the shin. You might be able to bind with the toe. It doesn't matter where you line up. Just grabbing hold of wherever feels comfortable, lifting the left hand to the ceiling. Lengthen through this crown of the head as if there's a piece of string that's really pulling you towards that person that you reach towards. And then exhale, twisting the chest towards the ceiling. Press down through that outer edge of the back foot. Engage through the core and twist. Dropping your shoulders back towards the hips. Let's hold here. Inhaling. Good. And exhaling. Really nice, everybody. Inhaling. And exhaling. Keep the hand lifted. It's lifting all the way to the ceiling. Maybe taking the gaze towards that hand. Good, nice. 2 more deep breaths here. Inhaling, trying to find some kind of a lightness moving up through that hand as well, through the body. As you exhale and twist, 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 keeping both legs as straight as we can. Last big breath. Good, very nice. Inhale. And as we exhale, look down towards the right big toe. Inhaling, let's lift all the way back up to center. Good. From here, we're going to twist the hips towards the front. So as we do this, you might want to take this left foot in slightly. So we're taking that left foot in slightly. We're twisting the hips all the way to the front of the mat. So as we do this, you'll find that, yes, you need to take those toes in And we need to do what feels comfortable for the body. So if that means that we need to actually take the feet slightly wider away from each other, that's fine too, or you can keep them on the one straight line. From here, we're bending this front knee. So we're coming to our warrior one. Draw the right hip back, draw the left hip forward, lift the hands up towards the ceiling. Draw the navel in, and we hold. Bend through that knee, drop the hips down, but keep pressing into that back outer edge of the back foot. So we want this back foot really strong so nothing comes off the ground here. So if that means you need to make it shorter or adjust, please feel free to do that. You can take the hands together or you can take them shoulder width apart, whichever feels right for you. And then let's take the gaze up towards the ceiling. So lifting up, dropping the shoulders down and holding here in the warrior one. Inhaling, good. And exhaling, keep drawing that navel in. Good, nice, Julie. And exhaling. We'll take 3 more deep breaths here, inhaling. And exhaling, lowering slightly. Good. 2 more deep breaths, inhale. Keep the arms extended, really lifting upwards. And exhaling. Last big breath. Inhale. And as you exhale, take the hands to the heart center. From here, we're just going to lift that back of the heel off the ground. Take the hands, keep the hands to the heart center. And we're just going to take a couple of breaths when we move into our warrior 3. So let's take this back foot in slightly, engage through the core, and then begin to lift this back leg. As we do that, beginning to straighten into this right leg as we fold forward. So we're coming to that parallel edge. Flex through the back foot, lengthen through the crown of the head. If you need to take variation with the arms, please feel free. We're just holding for 2 deep breaths here. Inhaling, good. And exhaling, lovely, good work everyone. Last big breath, inhale, press through that back foot. And as you exhale, send the foot all the way back. Take both hands down, step back, moving through your vinyasa, through your chaturanga, to your baby cobra or upward facing dog. Exhaling to your downward facing dog. Inhale, lift this left leg nice and high. Keep the hips square, so they're moving towards the mat. And really extend through that right leg. So it might be bent, that's fine, but we just want to think that we're extending through it, lifting the hips nice and tall. Point the left leg, and then bending the right knee, looking between the hands. Draw this left knee in towards the chest, and placing this left foot through. Grab hold of the ankle if you need to take it through. Place the right foot to 45 degree angle onto the floor, windmill all the way up. We're coming to our warrior 2. So same idea on this side. We want a nice long warrior 2, taking the ankles to about where the wrists are, taking the fingertips really wide apart, softening through the shoulders. Drop through the hips and just look forward. Make sure you can see the inner side of the foot inside the knee. Press through that back foot. Gaze to the thumb. And we hold. Keep the length going through the crown of the head. And then let's begin to feel back into that connection with the ground, back into your stability, into your grounding. So we press through the floor, but we allow the floor to support us too. And as we do this, as we find that grounding physically, let's go back to visualizing mentally what grounds you. So we had 3 options before. We've thought quite a lot about one of the options. Maybe you've flipped around to others, but maybe let's think about one of the other of the 3. And begin to visualize that and hold that in your mind as you're in this pose, as you work through this pose. Good, everybody. Holding here. Draw the navel in slightly. Good, really nice. So we're getting that connection. Drop the hips. Just 2 more deep breaths. Inhaling. And exhaling. Last big breath here. Inhaling. And exhale. As we inhale, we're going to straighten this front leg, straighten the left leg. From here, we want to dip into the left hip, allowing the right hip to kind of come out slightly, and then lead with this left hand. So it's this that is pulling you as far forward as you can, and then allow that hand to drop down, either onto the calf, onto the ankle, or all the way to find the toes. Lifting the right hand up towards the ceiling. As we inhale, we want to lengthen through the crown of the head. So we're getting some length from the hips all the way to the head. And as we exhale, twist this chest towards the ceiling. Press down through the back, through the little toe in the back foot, and squeeze these thighs together. Holding here in your triangle. Inhaling. And exhaling. Good work. Inhaling. Softening the shoulders a little, drawing them down towards the hips. Good, really nice. And exhaling. See if you can look up towards that hand. Lovely, Louise. Inhaling, drawing the navel in. And exhaling. We're taking one more big breath here. Big, deep inhale. And exhale, look towards that left toe. Inhaling, lifting all the way back up. From here, we're twisting towards the left foot. So what we want to do is take this right foot slightly inwards. Just coming underneath the right foot, and then we draw the left hip back, draw the right hip forward. If you need to take some more width between those feet, so taking the foot slightly closer to the long edge of the mat, that's fine. Otherwise, we will bend down into a warrior one. So from this position, you can adjust how far back you want the foot. Keep the left hip drawing backwards, keep the right hip drawing forwards. And as we do this, we really need to press through the outer edge of the back foot so that we keep this nice connection on the inside. Lifting the hands tall into our warrior one. Draw the navel in slightly, drop the hips, and breathe. We can begin to gaze upwards towards the thumbs. Good, lovely. Really nice, everybody. Great positions, very strong. Keep the back leg straight as we move towards a right angle with that front knee. Good, dropping the hips slightly lower. Good. Louise, you can go a little bit longer, I think, in your stride. So you can take that back foot back a little bit. Brilliant, yeah, there you are, fantastic. Good, everyone. 2 more deep breaths here. Drawing in that belly slightly more. Keeping the hips aligned. Good, gazing upwards. Last big breath. Inhale. And as we exhale, take the hands to heart center. We're going to draw the back heel off the ground. Engage through the core. This is what's going to help us in our warrior three. Find that focal point ahead of us. And then we slowly take that foot inwards. And we begin to lift the back foot off the ground. And we take the chest down towards parallel, towards our warrior three. We press through that back foot. I was just about to hit the wall there. Press through that back foot. Good. Lengthen through the crown of the head as we press and flex the back. Keep strong here. Just 2 more deep breaths. Inhaling, squeeze the thighs together. And exhaling. Good. Fantastic, everybody. Last big breath. Inhaling. And as you exhale, draw that foot all the way back into your lunge, and then take both hands down, stepping back, moving through your vinyasa. So coming to whatever options feel good for you this morning, and we'll meet back in our downward facing dog. From here, just looking between the knees. And then once you're in your downward facing dog, we can bend the knees, look between the hands. We're going to engage the core, and either you can step through, or we can try to float into a cross-legged position. So let's see what feels right. If you're thinking about floating, we want the hips nice and high, and we want to think that we're kind of going over our hands almost. And we move into this cross-legged position onto our mat. Lovely, so we're coming to seated. Let's take the feet out in front of us, making our way into our forward fold. So as we notice in our staff pose, our Dandasana pose, what we want to do is feel this connection with the ground once more. So we had just been really on our feet or our feet and our hands. Now we get the whole length of our lower body. So this becomes a very much more grounding practice from here. So let's flex through the feet. Keep the heels as if the heels could be a little bit lifted. We really want that kind of strength in the legs. Press down through the hands next to the hips. If the hands can't reach, that's because we want to tilt slightly further forward. See if the hands can reach down. Quite a lot still on the spine, on the hamstrings there. So press through the feet, and then let's lift the hands all the way up to the ceiling. So we want that length coming through the crown of the head, as if we're reaching as high as we possibly can. Take the hands to parallel, And then from here, I want you to imagine that there's a block in front of you. There's a block just about where the knees or midway through the thighs are. And then from here, we're trying to get that belly button up and over the block. So that's what we want to think about here. Keep the flexing through the toes and then lift the belly button all the way up over the block. You might not get very far, that's fine, it doesn't matter. Wherever you get to, wherever you feel that point of resistance, let's take the hands down. They can either be onto the legs or to the side of us. Drop the shoulders down, lift through the head, and as we exhale, again, we're moving the chest to the toes and moving the belly over the block. And breathe. Keep the feet nice and flexed. And we're going to take 5 deep breaths here. Inhale. So we can begin to close the eyes if you like. And exhaling, folding forward. Inhaling. And exhaling. Press through the legs. Feel the ground, feel the mat beneath you. Good. 3 more deep breaths here. Inhaling. And exhale, draw the chest a little bit closer to the toes. Good. So good, everybody. Great posture. Inhaling. And exhaling. 2 more breaths. Inhaling here, lengthen. And exhaling, draw forwards. Last one. Inhale. And exhale. As you inhale, begin to release all the way back up to seated. And we're going to take the left foot out in front of us and take the sole of the right foot in towards the thigh. So this hip becomes released. It may be that the knee is higher up, it really doesn't matter too much. Just allow that to kind of flop wherever it falls. And then I want you to take the flesh of the left thumb and just drag that left thumb a little bit back. From here, it's the same principle, so we still want to keep this left foot nice and flexed. And we're going to lift the hands all the way up above the head. And from here, twist slightly towards that right foot, towards the left foot. Take the hands to parallel. Keep the length going through the crown of the head. And then from here, as if somebody's pulling these hands, you want to go forwards, forwards, forwards. Stop at the point that you think you're starting to bend over. So you think you're starting to curve in the spine. And then take the hands down and really think about that block that the belly is going up and over again. Keep the shoulders soft. And maybe closing the eyes again. Flexing through the foot. And breathing deep. Big deep inhales through the nose. And exhale through the nose. And 3 more deep breaths. Inhaling. And exhaling. Press the leg down into the mat. Feel the mat beneath you. Supporting you. Last 2 breaths. Inhale. And exhale. Inhaling. Exhaling. Fold. And then inhale, slowly come all the way back upright. Take the right foot all the way up and then draw this left sole of the foot in towards the right thigh. Changing sides again. So let's take the hand underneath the right thumb. Draw that foot back. Bring the flesh of the arm back. And then press through this right foot. Lifting the arms all the way up. Good. Already got it. Already got it. Twist slightly towards that right foot. And then take the arms to parallel, as if that block is there mid-thigh. We're lifting up and over, reaching forwards, and take the hands down. You may find that one side is a lot easier than the other side. That's very normal. Don't worry too much about it. Breathe deeply, maybe closing the eyes again. We have 4 more deep breaths here. Inhale. And exhaling. Inhaling. And exhaling. Last 2 breaths. Every inhale we lengthen slightly. And every exhale we fold. Last 2 breaths. Inhaling fully. Exhaling, fold, fold, fold. Reach that chest towards the toe. And then inhale and lift all the way back up. Good. Take the left leg out. Give both legs a little bit of a shake. And then we're going to come the soles of the feet together. So we draw the soles of the feet together, the knees nice and open, and then see if you can get the heels closer in towards the body. So don't worry if the knees are really high up, that's fine, it doesn't matter where you are. We're just drawing the feet in close towards you. If the knees are really down, if the hip flexors are quite agile, then you can see about pressing the hands just gently and pressing them onto the legs that we're kind of gently easing them down. If they're quite high up, you can do that with the forearms, with the elbows. Just taking a gentle pressing, just for a moment. And then from here, we'll release there, we'll take the hands onto the soles of the feet. If the knees are quite high up, you can continue doing this as we fold because your forearms might meet, which is actually quite good. Otherwise, we'll let those knees fall down towards the mat. And if they're really close to the mat, we can begin to open the soles of the feet out like a book. Draw lengthen through the crown of the head, wherever we are. And as we exhale, we want to reach this chest forward. So we're going forward, forward, forward. We're not thinking about going to the floor, we're thinking about going forward. Naturally, as you go forward, you'll find that it starts to move towards the floor, if that's where your body allows, if your hip flexors allow that. So we really want to think about having a really lovely straight back. So what this might mean for you is that you seem like you're very high up and you're not moving far forwards at all. Doesn't matter, that's where you're at. That's still working your hip flexors. And as we're in this position, I want you to come back to that grounding once more, and this time with the physical. So really feeling your hips beneath you, feeling your knees, feeling your feet. So the hips and the feet definitely touching the floor. Maybe your knees can too. But really feeling that connection as we fold forward, as we move further towards that floor, further towards our support, allowing the ground to do the work for you. Let's take 2 more deep breaths in. Inhaling. And exhaling. Brilliant. Lovely work, everybody. That's great postures. Inhaling, keeping that length through the crown. Good. And as you exhale, fold, fold, fold. Lovely. And then as we inhale, we come all the way back up. And we're doing a slightly different one. So we're going to take the feet further in front of you. So now we want them in this big diamond shape. Doesn't matter where the knees are, how high up or down they are from here. They're probably not going to be on the floor because the body's in a very different shape now. Let's take the hands onto the knees. We want to start by lengthening through the crown, and then contrary to everything I ever say in class, we're going to curve through the spine as much as possibly can. So one as if kind of you've been crushed in at the belly. We want to really crush in through the belly to round through the spine as much as you can, all the way to the top of this spine. You can allow the forearms to start to rest onto the calves, onto the shins, if that feels right for you, or you can just carry on holding the knees or holding the shins. Allow the head to fully release. And holding here for about 3 more breaths. Inhaling. And exhaling, release. 2 more breaths. Inhaling. And exhaling. Last big breath here. Inhale. And exhale. And as we inhale, slowly begin to roll the body all the way back to seated. Good. We're going to come onto the floor, onto our backs. Lying all the way down. Getting ready for Shavasana. We've got 1 more pose before we come into our Shavasana. So draw the feet in close towards the hips. And then from here, press the soles of the feet. Just lift the hips about 1 inch off the ground. It's not very much. And then slide these hips over towards the right-hand side and allow the hips to fall down. From here, we're going to cross the right leg over the left. You can draw the feet off the ground here, so they're more hanging in midair. And then we want to take the legs over towards the left-hand side. You can take the arms out into a T position or into a cactus. And then beginning to look over towards the right-hand side. You can close the eyes. As we come into an eagle twist, a variation of our eagle. And as we do this, let the ground support you. Let your shoulders fall as much as they can down onto the ground, allowing the legs as well to move downwards. Just allowing gravity to do its work. taking one more big breath, inhaling and exhaling. And then as we inhale, engage the core and lifting all the way back up. Taking both feet down to the ground, just neutralize the spine. Then we'll do the same thing on the opposite side. So lift the hips just an inch off the ground, taking all the way over towards the left-hand side, and then taking the left leg over the right. And then drawing those legs down towards the ground, and taking the head over to the right. Give ourselves a bit of a gentle twist to finish our practice. Allowing the eyes to close. Thinking about the shoulders softening down into the ground. Thinking about the legs softening towards the ground. Allowing gravity to do the work. Just 2 more deep breaths here. Inhaling and exhaling. Last big breath. Inhale and exhale. As you inhale, begin to lift the legs all the way back up. Neutralize the spine and then allow the legs to stretch out, coming towards our Shavasana. So allow the arms to be a little away from the body, the legs to be about 1 foot from the mat. Closing the eyes, softening through the shoulders, the hips, the ankles, and the wrists. And coming back to a natural breath. Feeling those points of connection with the ground as it holds you in your Shavasana. Through the heel, through the hips, through the upper back, the arms, the wrists, and hands, all the way to the back of the head, softening any tension in the face, softening the gaze behind the eyelids, taking the tongue from the roof of the mouth to the back, softening between the brows. As we do this, one last time, I'd like to think of the 3 things that ground you mentally. Whether they are, whether they're big, small, could be that first cup of tea in the morning. Silly things, big things, family, friends. Seem to visualize those 3 things in your mind. Letting everything go. All thoughts, allowing yourself to be in your Shavasana. Then begin to deepen the breath. Take a big, deep inhale through the nose. A big exhale out through the mouth. Next inhale, begin to wiggle the fingertips and the toes. Bring that little bit of energy back into the body. And exhaling. Inhale, lift the arms up over the head, stretching the arms out above the head, stretching the legs, full body. And as you exhale, draw the knees in towards the chest, give yourself a big squeeze, a big hug. And slowly rocking over onto whichever side serves you this morning. Allowing yourself a moment here on your side. And then lifting all the way back up to seated. And once you're in a seated position, a comfortable seated position for you, taking the hands to the heart center, palms together, lengthen through the crown of the head. And soften the head down towards the hands. And begin to open the eyes. And looking up. Well done, everybody. Well done today. It's a bit of a themey one today. But I hope you enjoyed it. We're continuing with this theme tomorrow in the slow burn flow.